In the last video, we have seen how diffraction patterns are obtained on a screen by using the concept of Fresnel's half-period zones. In this discussion, we are going to have the mathematical analysis of diffraction, and we will also look into the condition of Fresnel distance. First of all, we will consider what I am going to see is the path reference. What we got yesterday is A sine theta, right? Path reference is equal to A sine theta. Now, this can approximately be said as A theta because the angle is very small. Now, also looking at the figure, sine theta is approximately xn divided by capital D. Sine theta is approximately xn divided by capital D, right? So, which means I can say path difference is equal to A into, so I can say this is approximately theta. So A into, this is very important thing I am saying, A into xn divided by capital D. Path difference is A into xn divided by capital D. So this is an important equation I have to say. Path difference A into xn divided by D. Now we will consider the graphical representation of the diffraction pattern with the path difference. Yes, the intensity distribution with the path difference. Okay, yes, this is a central maxima. So we got this is lambda, this is 2 lambda, this is 3 lambda, 0, minus lambda, minus 2 lambda, minus 3 lambda. Now you can see that path reference A theta is equal to lambda is this distance, right? From here I can say theta is equal to lambda by A. This is the half angular width of the central maxima. Half angular width. Now if I plot a graph between theta and this thing, that also I can show here in terms of theta. So if I take theta, this is lambda by A. Here it will be minus lambda by A. Here it is 2 lambda by A. Here it is 3 lambda by A. Here it is minus 2 lambda by A. This is minus 3 lambda by A. The question which I am asking is, what is the angular width of the central maxima? Angular width of the central maxima. Angular width of the central maxima. Angular width of the central maxima is angular width of the central maxima is equal to 2 theta, right? So from here I can also say one more thing, that theta is equal to sine inverse, okay, rather I am saying this is equal to n lambda, which gives theta is equal to sine inverse n lambda by A. So for central maxima n is equal to 1, 2 theta, that is 2 sine inverse lambda by A. So please understand, this is the important equation of the angular width of the central maxima. This is the most important equation. This is the most important equation for the angular width of the central maxima. Now we can say one more thing, if lambda is much smaller than A, that is where this equation is valid. Lambda is much smaller than A, then in that situation we can see that angular width is equal to 2 lambda by A. So in that case only you have to say angular width is equal to 2 lambda by a. Otherwise, what you are supposed to take? Otherwise, you are supposed to take 2 sine inverse lambda by a. So if lambda is comparable with a, so this formula is applicable if lambda comparable with a. If lambda is comparable with a, you are supposed to take angular width of the central maxima is 2 sine inverse lambda by a. This is very, very important. I am saying for small lambdas you can take it directly. Angular width of the central maxima is 2 lambda by a. Ready? That is first aspect I am saying. The second thing I am going to do is I am going to plot a graph between xn and intensity. That also I can do on the same graph itself, right? Okay, so from here we got small a into xn divided by capital D is equal to n lambda. Okay, so if I plot from here, what will be xn is equal to? Xn is equal to n lambda D divided by small a. This equation resembles that of interference, where we had in place of small a it is D. Now let us consider that also into here. Here this is x1, n is equal to 1, lambda capital D divided by a. N is equal to 2 lambda capital D by a. 3 lambda capital D divided by a. Minus lambda capital D divided by a. Minus 2 lambda capital D divided by a. Minus 3 lambda capital D divided by a. The question which I am asking is, from here, what is the width of the central maxima? Width of the central maxima. Width of the central maxima is how much? Width of the central maxima. Width of the central maxima, W is equal to, what is the width of the central maxima? Width of the central maxima is this distance, right? Which is lambda capital D divided by a minus. So this position minus this position I have to take. Minus lambda capital D divided by a. The width of the central maxima is 2 lambda D divided by a. This is the width of the central maxima. Very, very important I have to say. The width of the central maxima is 2 lambda capital D divided by a. 2 lambda capital D divided by a. That is the width of the central maxima. Then what is the width of all other maxima? Width of other maxima. If I say WO, you can see here 2 lambda D by a minus lambda D divided by a, right? Width of other maxima. 2 lambda capital D by a minus lambda D by a. So width of other maxima is equal to lambda capital D divided by a. So as a fun I can say diffraction is like a capitalist mentality. The owner of the company always have that privileges here. So look at the intensity. The intensity of central maxima is much greater than the intensity of other maxima. As well as the cabin of the owner of the company is so big compared to the cabins of other faculties or other staffs over there. So the width of the central maxima is twice. I have to use the word twice as wide of all other maxima, right? Width of the central maxima is twice as wide as the width of all other maxima, I have to say. Width of the central maxima is twice as wide as the width of all other maxima. So, unlike interference, so what we have seen with interference is, Interference bands are all equally intense. The separation between adjacent bands are same. Adjacent bright bands is beta. Adjacent dark bands also is beta. So in interference, the bands are equally spaced as well as equally intense. Whereas when it comes to diffraction, so there is a priority for the central band. The central band has a maximum intensity. Central band is twice as wide of all other bands. Okay, hope this idea is clear to you. Now we will discuss another important thing. So what are the similarities and differences between interference and diffraction? So let us calculate similarities. So similarities between interference and diffraction. What are the basic similarities you could see with interference? First one, both arise due to superposition of waves. So I am discussing about single slit diffraction experiment as well as double slit interference experiment. So both occur due to the superposition of what is called coherent waves, right? That is what we can say as a similarity between interference and diffraction. Okay. Now I want you to find out some more similarities by yourself by reading the textbook, and I want you to reply me. Now let's come to the differences. That also we can easily do. Differences between interference and diffraction. So first we will take interference. Correspondingly we can take diffraction. Now this I am not doing by myself. I want you to compare and get me. First one, path difference. What is the path difference for constructive interference here? N lambda. What is the path difference for constructive interference in single slit diffraction? 2n plus 1 lambda by 2. Here n takes the values 1, 2, 3, etc. Here n takes the values 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Second one, condition for destructive interference. Path difference is 2n minus 1 അല്ലെങ്കിൽ 2n plus 1 lambda by 2. Here when I use this formula, I told you I will take n values from 1, 2, 3, etc. What about here? Destructive interference. Path difference is n lambda, where n takes the values 1, 2, 3, etc. N values are same here. Now second, regarding intensity. Same for all bands. What about here? When it comes to intensity, it decreases as we move away from center. It decreases as we move away from the center. Then coming on to the width. Same for all bands, right? What about the width here? Central maxima has double width compared to all other maxima. The width of the central maxima is double compared to all other maxima. This is the idea regarding what I will say, the similarities and differences between interference and diffraction. Hope it is clear to you. Now we will discuss about YDSC and SSD, single slit diffraction experiment. YDSC means Young's double slit experiment. Actually, just now I just concluded about the similarities and differences, but I just have a doubt. Actually, what is two slits means? It is nothing but two single slits, right? So there is a question to ask you. Considering them as two independent slits, which means we are expected to have diffraction pattern in front of each slit now. We are expected to have diffraction bands in front of each slits, right? But then we say that yes, fine, these are the type of bands you are get on the screen as a result of interference. Okay, let's see how actually is the case of interference and diffraction together. So we know that in diffraction, in single slit diffraction, the intensity of central maxima is very large. And the width of the central maxima is 2d lambda divided by A. And fringe width beta is equal to d lambda divided by small d. Clearly, d is greater than A. D is greater than A. D is the separation between the two slits and small a is the width of a slit. In interference, this is the width of width A equal to, and this is separation B is equal to. As you can see from this figure, D is much greater than A or D is greater than A. Which means the fringe width beta is less than W. So what I will say is that within the central maximum of the diffraction pattern, we have to see so many interference bands present. Right, so now you will say, sir, this is not what you have taught us now. What is taught to us is, sir, you have taught us this is how the interference bands look like. So they are all equally intense. This is what you have taught us regarding the interference bands, right? So the question I am going to ask you now. If, okay, so if, again this color is causing a lot of problems. If A tends to 0, what is A? If the width of the slit tends to 0, width of the slit tends to 0, width of the slit tends to 0, then what about the width of the central maxima tends to infinity? Width of the central maxima tends to infinity. So what are the conditions of sustained interference is? Sources must be narrow. I hope you remember that condition. And there I told I will discuss about this later. What are the important conditions of sustained interference is the sources must be narrow. We have to say narrow sources. So in the limit of A becoming 0, that's what I tell you. If you read NCERT book, you will find a sentence like this. If A tends to 0, width tends to infinity. Width of the central maxima tends to infinity. That means if I plot the intensity distribution, then this will be the new central maxima, right? Width tends to 0, infinity means it should be parallel to this axis because it will be parallel to this axis because this curve is going to meet this axis only at infinity. So this is a pattern. In that case, how should I draw these interference bands? Yes. Yes, this is how we get the intensity distribution in two slits interference bands. So the most important condition for YDSC, is that when A tends to 0, that is in the limit of A becoming small, in the limit of A becoming small, comma, SSDE becomes YDSC. So this is very important thing you have to understand. So in the limit of A becoming very small, I tell you, A becoming very small, that is when the width of the slits is too small. When the width of the slit is too small, we get two slit interference pattern as I told here. And that's what you got to see here as well. And this is very important condition I have to say regarding the relation regarding the formulation of YDSC from single slit diffraction experiments. I hope this idea is absolutely clear to you. We'll see about Fresnel distance. Now let us consider the single slit diffraction experiment of width A. This width is A. We got a point source of light, yes. So what I will say is that if you look at these dotted lines, or I will join them by means of a thick line. Okay, fine. I will join them by means of, okay, I am looking for my green pen, green, yes. This is according to the geometrical optics or ray optics, the path of the light is going to be. So source, yes. The path of the light according to geometrical optics is likewise, right? So ray travels in a straight line. Assume this to be a straight line because I don't have a pencil or scale, I don't have a scale to draw likewise. So assume this is a straight line and according to the rectilinear propagation of light. And according to the wave theory, so what happens here is that the light comes here and it spreads according to the wave theory. Oh sorry, I will use another color for wave theory. The bending of light. So while drawing, I'm a little exaggerated here in drawing. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to move the screen from the slit. Now see here. Here the width is A. That width is A. Okay, fine. Now here, this is wave optics. This is a spread due to wave optics. This is the spread due to ray optics. So if you look at up to this dotted line, the spreading due to ray optics is more than the spreading due to wave optics. The spreading due to ray optics is more than, okay, I'm using the other color. The spreading up to this one, say if I say this is PQ, up to PQ, the spreading due to ray optics is dominant than wave optics, right? So bending of light occurs here. So I told you this is a bit exaggerated in drawing, but to just understand this concept, this is enough. So here we can see that up to PQ. So at the point PQ, the spreading due to ray optics and wave optics are same. Before PQ, the spreading due to ray optics is greater than spreading due to wave optics. That is, geometrical optics dominate over wave optics. After PQ, wave optics dominate over ray optics, correct? Up to PQ or up to PQ, so not before, up to PQ, ray optics and wave optics. So up to PQ, ray optics, or not, okay, just before PQ. That is more better, I think. Just before PQ, ray optics dominates over wave optics, right? And after PQ, what you can see is that wave optics, the spreading. So this is the spreading due to wave optics, and this is the spreading due to ray optics, right? Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to move a screen. Okay, just taking a sketch pen of my children. Consider this as a screen. Here which one dominates, ray optics or wave optics? I will say wave optics is red color, ray optics is green color. I think green is above wave, so ray optics dominates. Up to this point, I am saying green lies above red. So that is where I am saying the spreading due to ray optics is dominating over the spreading due to wave optics. Now if I move a screen from here, as I told you, so up to this distance, so that distance we call as ZF or otherwise Fresnel distance. Now this distance is A. Okay, let me take a line here. Now what I can say is this is the width of the central maximum we are considering. I am calling this angle as theta. Okay. So looking at, and I am saying this angle alpha. Now let me take these two triangles separately. Now this width is A. This angle is theta. The distance is ZF. So question which so this angle is alpha. If this side is A, this total side is A, or this much is A by 2. Okay, so you have studied in basic proportionality theorem related to similarities. So if this total is equal to A, then what will be the length of this side? What will be the length of this side? Length of this side by similarity of triangles. That is going to be 2A, which means this much is equal to A. Right? That much is equal to A. That much is equal to A. Right? That much is equal to A. Now from here you can see that sine theta is approximately equal to A divided by ZF. That is also equal to lambda divided by A. Sine theta is A divided by ZF, that is equal to lambda by A for the formation of first. So this is the width of the central maxima, I have to say. Here I am getting a central maximum of this wide. Sine theta is equal to say A by ZF, that is equal to lambda by A. From here the Fresnel distance ZF I am going to get is A square divided by lambda. The Fresnel distance ZF I am going to get is A square by lambda. This is the expression for the Fresnel distance. Now how will you define Fresnel distance? It is a maximum. So I am going to explain Fresnel distance now. Fresnel distance, it is the maximum distance. It is the maximum distance between slit and screen. Up to which the spreading due to diffraction is negligible. Spreading due to diffraction is negligible. or it is a maximum distance up to which the ray optics is in close agreement with the wave optics. Now what I have to say is that I have used the ideas of basic proportionality theorem to solve this. This also is approximately ZF in that situation I am saying. This distance is approximately ZF in that situation. We have to say is ZF. This distance is ZF. This distance also approximately ZF. So in that situation the total becomes 2 ZF. This much is ZF. This is A. This is 2A. So we have to say the Fresnel distance is the maximum distance between the slit and screen for which the spreading due to diffraction is negligible. So in this case the width of the central maxima becomes 2A. At the Fresnel distance the width of the central maxima is 2A. Width of the central maxima is 2A. That also can be written as 2 ZF lambda divided by A. Again I can prove ZF is equal to A square divided by lambda. That is another equation for Fresnel distance. I hope this class is clear to you. Now we will discuss in another video related to the resolving power of optical instruments. Although that is not there in the board exam syllabus, it is important for the entrance point of view. Okay, thank you.